Hello and welcome to everyone. Today our guest is LFA fighter Christian Natividad. Thank you so much for accepting the interview. What can you say in general about your achievements, your career, about your road of development? Can you please say something in 3-4 words? Then we'll go with specific questions.
Pretty much as far as my career goes, it doesn't happen overnight. It's just a buildup of uh, hours of hard work.
Really, really great. Okay, let's start with the beginning. When did you start training MMA, and which was your first martial art?
So I started doing jiu-jitsu back in 2012. I've been doing that for just about 9 years now. I started wrestling the year after, 2013, and I started mixing everything together and started training MMA in 2016. 2015, and I had my first MMA fight in 2016.
In your own words, how would you describe your fighting style?
I like to call it a Lally style. It's a little different. It's a mixture of boxing with wrestling. Something that I'm going to start adding in, though, is a few kicks.
Well, it seems I thought wrong. When I was watching you, I would say you're an all-rounder.
I started off as a jiu-jitsu guy, like I said earlier, but I found my love for striking and just being able to see the success I've been having on the feet. A lot of the people watching me now, they thought I was a stand-up fighter, but in actuality, I'm actually a ground fighter. Those are my roots.
Can you please elaborate the origin of your nickname?
The Poi Pounder, yeah. So something at our gym, we never talk about or we never come up with our own nicknames. Our nicknames are always given to us. Like my brother, his nickname is Quicksand. That was given to him. He didn't come up with that himself. So Poi Pounder, the reason why I got that nickname is because, like I said earlier, I'm a ground fighter. So every time when I went on top of the person, I would hit the people like this. And a lot of you guys, if you guys want to watch and see what poi is, it's something that's edible, something you could eat, comes from taro, and the way you make it, you would pound it like this. And so for one of my fights, my brother and a couple other guys from Hawaii, they're saying, give him the Poi Pounder! And then I was on top of the mount, and I was just hitting him like this. And ever since then, they just started calling me the Poi Pounder.
Does it has your nickname? Does it have something to do with Hawaii Island?
Yes, it does. So it's something edible that we eat in Hawaii.
Excellent. Who are your coaches and sparring partners?
Who are they?
Yes.
Yeah, so my main coach, his name is Trevor Lally. He is the head coach at Arizona Combat Sports. A couple of my other coaches is going to be Eddie Cha, Santino DeFranco, Alan, he's a boxer. I don't know his last name. And Angel Cejudo, that's Henry Cejudo's brother. So those four coaches are at Fight Ready. As far as our training partner goes, my main training partner, of course, is my brother. It's perfect because we're the same weight. And the best thing about it is even though we're brothers, same size and everything, our styles are completely different. And that's what makes it so unique. As far as my other partner goes at Fight Ready, there's a ton of different partners there. Kind of like I was just saying, Henry Cejudo, Hunter Azure, Henry Corrales, and the list goes on. There's a ton of different pro fighters there.
Well, actually, I'm a big fan of Henry Corrales, especially after that big, powerful right hand. That I think he was like 6-1, 7-1 in that fight, underdog. Correct me if I'm wrong, something like that.
Oh yeah, are you talking about the one where he got dropped at first and then he knocked out Aaron Pico?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where he grew his fan base because, like you said, he was a huge underdog. No one knew who he is. Everyone knew who Aaron Pico was, and just the way he came back, he got dropped and he ended up knocking out Aaron Pico out cold. So, yeah, that's how he got his fan base.
Well, actually, I said that Corrales was gonna win that fight because I know Pico. If he keeps the fight standing, he is ground fighter. I mean, but fans were laughing at me. They were saying you're
Mhm.
out of your mind. And but I knew that Corrales has this strike good, and Pico doesn't have good defense of right hook. I mean,
Yeah.
but people were laughing. Yeah,
Mhm.
but Corrales, according to me, is very much underrated fighter. What do you think about that?
Oh, definitely. Every time I spar him, that guy is such a powerhouse, and it's crazy because he's going down a weight class. He's going down to 135, and he's huge. So, yeah, he's going to be a killer at that weight class. Hopefully, the weight cuts are going to be great, but that guy is definitely super, super strong.
I want to say that we might see new John Lineker.
Him and John Lineker.
Yeah, John Lineker
Oh,
was the greatest powerhouse at 135. So you want to say that
yeah,
Corrales could copycat his style, right?
yeah. So if those two were to fight now too, that would be an awesome fight. I think Lineker is at one championship now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, that would be an exciting fight, and that would definitely be a fight of the year candidate. Just because I know both of those guys, if they were to fight, they would just go balls to wall, crazy, going for the knockout.
Do you have a favorite submission, considering that you say that you're a ground fighter?
Yeah, so my favorite submission is going to be the Kimura. Yeah, I've always loved that submission. So that, and then second would probably be a guillotine.
I like this question. I mean, fighters don't like it pretty much. Do you have a favorite submission switch? Like, fishing from one to other submission?
Uh, like a transition, what I like to transition to.
Yeah, for example, triangle armbar to armbar, or one transition to other transition. Do you have it favorite?
Oh, I'd say my favorite would probably be just what you said, triangle to R bar, just because it's right there and it's super, super quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
outstanding.
what I love about yeah, those three submissions. So there's a triangle, a arm bar, and an omoplata. Those three submissions are like tied in together. So if you're attacking one submission, one of those other two submissions are always open as well.
What do you think? Is it possible to go for a submission switch when you switch from one choke to another choke? Do you think it's possible or it's very hard?
It's definitely very possible because in order for your opponent to defend a submission, they have to open up for a difference. So it's always going to be available.
Do you have the favorite strike?
Yeah, it has to be my left hook, man. My left hook. A lot of people think it's my right hand, and I do love my right hand, but my left hook is a lot of times what puts people out.
Excellent. Uh, do you have uh, the favorite animal?
Favorite dogs. I have three dogs here in my house, man. I have two pit bulls and one Rottweiler Australian Shepherd mix. I love dogs, man.
Excellent. Do you have a favorite combo in the fight? Favorite combination?
Probably super simple, 2-3 or 3-2. So that's my right hand to left hook or left hook to right hand.
Pretty much simple, but it lands clean. What can you say about your first amateur fight? How did you feel heading into your first amateur fight?
I was definitely very, very nervous. It's the first time I've ever stepped into a ring with a crowd watching me under the bright lights. So I definitely had a lot of nerves, especially I was fighting one of the other best gyms here in Arizona. I was fighting someone from the MMA lab. So I knew I wasn't fighting someone that I could run over. So I fought someone that was very, very tough. There's a lot of nerves that went into it, but after I got that win, I was able to build that confidence. And after every win, my confidence continued to grow.
Who was the toughest amateur opponent you've ever faced?
I'd probably say this guy named Braden Goodwin. He was the number one ranked amateur at 135 and 125 in Arizona. He had a lot more experience than I had. I was 2-0 and he was like 7-2 or something like that. So he had a few more fights than I had. And I was only able to win by decision. I wasn't able to finish the fight.
Can you pinpoint to the greatest differences between your amateur fights and your first professional fight?
Yeah, so all of my amateur fights, I've won every fight by either TKO or submission. I've never knocked anyone out on the feet. Looking at my professional career now, my first two fights, I knocked them out with my stand-up. So just being able to have confidence on my feet and not having to take everyone down to win the fight.
About your first about your first professional fight, how did you defeat your opponent? What was your key to victory?
Pretty much just play my game. So I knew he was a great jiu-jitsu fighter. Uh, I knew his best way of winning was taking it to the ground. So I just thought to myself, if I keep it standing, he can't really do any submissions because he's strong off his back. So I'll just keep him on his feet. And that's all I did. He tried to pull guard a couple times. I dropped him a total of 3 times in that fight. The third one was the one that knocked him out cold. But the first two, when I dropped him, he would just lay on the ground and try to make me run into his guard. And I knew that if I jump into his guard, I could probably still win, but I'd probably have a better chance of winning if I just let him back up.
According to your thoughts, what is the best way to evade pulling guard? You know, when he tries to pull guard and you want to stay on your feet. If you're a coach, what would you say to your student? What should he do to evade pulling guard?
Yeah, so sometimes it could be a little tough because especially if you're in a clinch and he jumps and he wraps his legs around you, you're pretty much stuck in his guard already. But other than that, like when we're up on the feet, just keeping your distance because he can't pull guard if uh, if there's a good amount of distance between us. If he jumps and falls on his butt and tries to make me come into his guard, I could just step back and the referee's going to stand this up.
About when he already establishes both underhooks in, it's very hard to evade, or what do you think?
Yeah, definitely is. So just being aware of what positions you're in and what he's trying to do and what he's trying to set you up for. To do an attack from the bottom, you only have 2 hands, so you do have to release some kind of form of control to make an angle to do an attack. So once he does that, that's the best time for me to escape.
Your second LFA fight, how did you, well, I can say shut down your opponent in like 29 seconds. I mean, it was impressive. I watched that fight, but I wasn't expecting such a fast victory.
Yeah, most people weren't, and a lot of people at my job, Titan Solar Power, they're all getting pizza, like getting food and stuff. And by the time they sat down to watch the fight was over, and they're like, "I didn't even get to see anything."
Yeah, pretty much impressive and fast finish. I mean, great.
hmm
What was your game plan for your LFA 100 fight?
My most recent one.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
100,
so
LFA 100.
LFA 100. Yeah, so my game plan is always the same, just pound some boy. But this fight, it was a little bit different. I felt like I wasn't fully mentally there, and I really tried to knock him out versus just letting it happen. My first 2 fights, I was calm, I was composed, and the knockouts, when the opportunity presented itself, I took it. This one, I tried to force the knockout, and that's what I did wrong. Uh, as far as taking him down, that wasn't really a part of the game plan, but since I wasn't having the success that I wanted on the feet, I just went back to my roots and started taking him down because I knew that was where he was weak at.
What are your thoughts of LFA as a promotion, and what are your plans for the future? Do you have some incoming plans, or you plan to keep the ball rolling and to see how it goes?
Yeah, so LFA, it's a great promotion, and I love fighting for them. And I even told some of the guys who work for the LFA, I don't want to rush my time with you guys. I want to take my time and enjoy the ride. LFA, they're one of the biggest feeder promotions for the UFC. I'm pretty sure most of a good chunk of the roster in the UFC come from the LFA. So I know I'm definitely fighting in the right spot and in the right promotion. As far as my future plans, I definitely do want to be the champ for the LFA, and I plan on going back down to 125 as well. So I want to be a two division champion. I want to be the champ at 125 and 135.
Second question: how does one day in your life look like, and how many pounds do you drop for your fights?
Yeah. So my day-to-day life, I still work full-time. So I'm the national finance manager for one of the biggest solar companies in the world, Titan Solar Power. So I manage a team and I manage all of the finances for that, for a huge company. So I still work about 9 hours a day. I go into work at 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock, and around 10 to 12, I take a 2 to 3 hour break, and I go back to work after that and stay until 7 o'clock. And so I still am able to train as much as I want to and still get my work done with Titan Solar Power. As far as losing weight goes, I lose about 15 pounds to make 135, but that's me forcing to eat and trying to keep my weight up. If I wanted to fight at 125, I would just have to pretty much not force myself to eat and run a little bit more. So that's definitely something I want to do here in the near future, actually.
Would you like to greet someone? Would you like to give a shout out to someone? Is there something we missed to say?
Yeah, I mean, uh, I'll just go with what I'm wearing right here, Hawaiian Fight Gear. They've supported me from the beginning, from my first amateur fight up until this point. So I I really have to thank them because they've always been a huge support for me. And also want to thank Warfield Hair Bar, making sure my hair looks good for these podcasts.
Right. Thank you so much for the interview. I will start creating video now. In like 2-3 hours, I will publish. Okay, I will send you video. Okay.
Sounds good, man. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.